Thank you for tuning in to Terry Swoop Videos. On today's video, I'm going to talk about what happened to the actor and martial artist, Steve James. Steve James was a popular actor in the 1980s and early 90s. He played in several martial arts movies, and he also played in several comedy movies. Some of you may remember him from the American Ninja series, and some of you may remember him in some of the movies that he starred with Chuck Norris. But my favorite movie that he appeared in was I'ma Get You Sucker as Kung Fu Joe. Everybody was Now, Steve James was born in 1952, and he was raised in New York City. He started out as a stuntman in the 1970s. He did stuntman work in movies like The Warriors, The Wanderers, and several other movies. So he transitioned into an actor in the early 1980s. The first movie that he appeared in as an actor was The Brother from Another Planet. And then he got his first big role in American Ninja in 1985. American Ninja was a hugely successful movie. There was 5 different sequels made in the American Ninja series. Steve James played in the first 3 movies between 1985 and 1989. He also co-starred in the movie Delta Force with Chuck Norris. He became good friends with Chuck Norris, and Chuck Norris asked him to come back for a second movie called Hero in the Terror in 1988. And then in 1989, he appears in the movie I'ma Get You Sucker as Kung Fu Joe. And this is probably one of my favorite comedy movies of all time. I've probably seen this movie 100 times. And no matter how many times I watch it, I laugh just as hard every time. It's the funniest movie I ever seen before. If you haven't seen it, I advise you to check it out. This movie showed how talented Steve James was, because he could play in a comedy role and be funny, but at the same time, he could also do action or drama and be serious. So he was an all-around talented actor and great martial artist. He married his first wife in 1987. Her name was Neva Helemy. And Neva was beautiful. This woman was gorgeous. He met her on the set of American Ninja, and they got married in 1987. They have a daughter together named Debbie James. And they were together for about 5 years. Now, I don't know if they got divorced or if she passed away, but he marries his second wife in 1992, and her name was Christine Pan, and this was an Asian lady. Now, unfortunately, Steve James passes away from cancer in 1993. And what's interesting about this is that he was still working until the end of his life. And you look at some of these acting roles that he was playing in towards the end of his life, he looked it perfectly healthy. His last acting role was Weekend at Bernie's 2. And you look at him in this scene where he's dancing, and he looks perfectly healthy. He looks muscular. He doesn't look like a person dying from cancer. And he was filming this movie while he was dying of cancer. So it's sad to see him lose his life at such a young age. He was only 41 years old at the time. And his career was really taking off. And he was one of my favorite actors. I always loved martial arts movies. When I was a kid, I always loved karate movies. And he always appeared in all of these movies, whether it be him starring in it or him playing the co-star. So he's always going to be remembered as one of the great action stars of the 80s and 90s. A lot of people have different opinions about this topic. Leave a comment, rate, and subscribe.
He became a best friend. We talked. We would meet in each other's motorhomes and talk about, or even say a prayer before we went out. Hey, let's do this. Say a little prayer. Come on, buddy. Let's go. Let's do it up. And he was a fantastic person. I miss him.